What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. In this video, we're going to be taking a look at the 2022 Volkswagen Tiguan SEL R-Line. So if you guys have seen my video that I put out about a month ago, we talked about the 2022 Tiguan SE R-Line Black. That's one of the new trim levels. Now this one is basically exactly like the SEL Premium R-Line from last year. They just got rid of the Premium. So this is just the SEL R-Line, and it is now the top trim level. So this is gonna have every bell and whistle that you can get here on the Tiguan. And we're gonna take a look at everything as we always do, starting up front. So one of the big changes for 2022 is that all Tiguans now have standard LED headlights and daytime running lights. No fog lights here, but you do have your kind of bad weather lights as well. Now, one thing that the SE R-Line Black did not have is this LED bar that runs across the front fascia here, intersecting with the big Volkswagen logo here. So you can see that right here on this chrome trim. Now, another thing that's different here on the SEL R-Line is that you have a lot more chrome trim, whereas on the SE Black, as the name suggests, you have much more kind of black accents and trims versus this chrome stuff going on. R-Line badge, that updated one, all of your kind of details and accents, well, you do have a lot of black plastic. There's a lot more chrome, like I mentioned. So you've got it down here on the little hooks that I mentioned. You've got your parking sensors dotted around. You also have your front-facing camera that works with your surround view monitor system, which you did not have down on the SE R-Line Black. And then you have a little bit of a chrome accent at the bottom, with just more body colored accents and chrome pieces. Now, like I mentioned, this does have Volkswagen's IQ light system. So LED daytime running lights, LED headlights. It also has an adaptive front lighting system with the low speed corner illuminating feature to it. Under the hood, every Tiguan is gonna have a 2.0 liter turbocharged engine, 28 miles per gallon highway, 21 miles per gallon city, 184 horsepower, 221 pound-feet of torque. The SEL R-Line here sits on 20-inch two-tone aluminum alloy wheels. They have a big kind of open look to them. Very, very sporty and premium looking. I think they look fantastic. You've got this updated R-Line badging, updated kind of accents to it as well. Power folding side mirrors, so if we go ahead and lock them, you'll see they fold right up. They do have blind spot monitoring, integrated turn signals, and they are heated, and they have position memory. So very, very functional mirrors here. And additionally, these mirrors do have cameras up underneath that work with your surround view monitor system. Moving on back, you have keyless access here, little Volkswagen word mark, chrome trim that runs around the windows, chrome roof rails, and then you have a panoramic sunroof up top. So moving to the back of the Tiguan here, like I mentioned, the redesign is mainly going to be seen in the front. There's a little bit of a difference in these taillights, but for the most part, it's hard to tell whether this is a 2022 or 2021 Tiguan based on the back end. You do have this huge piece of rear glass. Volkswagen badging that's updated, Tiguan word mark here that is also updated. You've got your SEL badging and your 4Motion all-wheel drive system badging right there. Parking sensors dotted around. You have these quad faux exhaust tips, which I know some people don't love that they're faux exhaust tips, but that's what we're working with here. Standard rear camera there as well that works with that surround view camera system, and a little bit of just kind of chrome accented trim to match up with the rest of the vehicle. You do have a power easy open liftgate here. You can open it with the button on the back, you can open it with the key fob, you can open it from inside, and it grants you access to a ton of cargo space back here. Again, I'll have all dimensions on screen, but you have plenty of space back here. You have these little handles you can drop your second row seats with. Up underneath, you have your Volkswagen cargo protection system. There's a cargo shade back here. There's a spare tire. They even give you a little USB-C to USB-A Volkswagen dongle right here. I don't know what that's for, but that's cool. But that's pretty much everything here on the exterior of the new Tiguan. Let's go ahead and hop inside. All right, so hopping inside the cabin of this new Tiguan, there's a ton of stuff to like in here. We've got the updated steering wheel, we've got the digital dash, we've got the upgraded shift column here, tons of cool stuff. But let's go ahead and get right into it and start with this leather-wrapped heated steering wheel. Now, this has the updated design that Volkswagen's running with. You have these perforated hand grips as well here on the R-Line. Updated Volkswagen badging, you have touch capacitive buttons on either side. On the left side, you've got your adaptive cruise control and volume settings. And then over on the right side, you have media controls for like switching stations or using your voice assistant or updating your digital display here, things like that. You also have your heated steering wheel button on this side. And again, they are touch capacitive. So when the vehicle is off, they don't do anything. They don't move or anything. You can't press them. But when the vehicle is turned on, that is when you can actually use the buttons. So just keep that in mind. Brights and wiper controls behind the steering wheel. Past the steering wheel, like I mentioned, you do have the Volkswagen digital cockpit. Now, like I talked about in my SE R-Line Black video, they've divided it into two different types of displays. So you have what they're considering the Volkswagen Digital Cockpit and then the Volkswagen Digital Cockpit Pro. The top trim level here obviously has the Volkswagen Digital Cockpit Pro, and this is the same exact system that we've seen on almost all Volkswagens that have had a digital cockpit up until this point, whereas the non-Pro version is kind of the newer, even though it looks way worse type of thing. And I'll have some pictures on screen so you can see kind of the difference here. But this one has built-in navigation. It just looks a lot better. It's a lot more premium. If you can shell out for it up here on the SEL R-Line here, I would definitely go for this version of the digital cockpit versus the non-Pro version. It's just gonna look better, function better, have more features, things like that. So this has obviously different customizable views. You can do full screen navigation here with the built-in navigation up here on the SEL R-Line. So lots of nice functionality there. We're gonna be talking more about the technology features of the 2022 Tiguan over on my tech channel, Matt's Tech. I'll have a link in the description if you guys are interested in more of a tech-centric video on this Tiguan. But this is more of just a comprehensive review here. So this system's great. I'm a big fan of Volkswagen's digital cockpit system. And again, we'll talk more about it over on the tech channel. Moving on over from that, we have an 8-inch infotainment system here. This is Volkswagen's most recent MIB3 system. So they're, most up-to-date system, although it's not the system that we have on vehicles like the ID4, the upcoming GTI, things like that. So this is not like the flashy newest system, but it is, I guess, the most updated version of this infotainment system. So you've got radio, Bluetooth, Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, which are wireless, navigation, you have your assist systems as well, vehicle settings, climate control, you have your surround view camera system, your rear camera system, you can see your parking sensors, all that kind of stuff. Moving down from that, you do have an updated climate control system. So it's still a Climatronic dual zone climate control system, but it now has touch capacitive buttons and sliders to go ahead and adjust that. So you'll just run your finger along this to turn your fan speed up and down, down below to change the temperature, and then you can just tap on the screen to access like your ventilated seats, heated seats, things like that. Moving on down from that, you do have a Qi-enabled wireless charging pad, 2 USB-C ports, a 12-volt outlet for charging, so tons of good connectivity there. Push to start engine button is exactly the same as it's been on all previous models. The shift knob here has been adjusted a little bit, so it's got a little bit of a redesign, some nice satin pieces, black plastic, with your gears actually up top with little lights underneath them. So as you switch gears, the light changes to show you what gear you're in. And you do have your Tiptronic and sport mode, so you can use that by just pulling down and pushing over to the right. Leather wrapped at the bottom with accent stitching, electronic parking brake. This kind of glossy gray plastic covers this, and then a matte gray plastic as well around your drive mode selector and things like that. You can turn your auto start stop engine off. You can do your parking sensors and parking camera as well with your park assist as well right there. 2 cup holders here, nothing different there. Inside this center console here, no additional ports, but a nice deep pocket for storage. Kind of a standard, kind of boring rear view mirror up top. It is auto dimming, but nothing fancy. It doesn't even look very premium, to be honest with you. So that's the only real downside here. You do have LED dome lights here, which are not touch sensitive, but you do have the buttons here for those. Your panoramic sunroof controls up top here, and your SOS buttons as well. As far as the cabin design goes, again, it's a premium feeling and looking cabin, but it's not overly flashy in any way, which I don't mind. You just have this kind of black leather here with this accent stitching and like a faux wood grain on the door panels, which I'm not a huge fan of, but it doesn't look terrible. It's above the glove box too. You've got your Fender premium audio system as well, little speakers up here. And then you can see there's a little bit of ambient lighting as well that kind of runs around the trim, and that can be adjusted with 15 different customizable colors, which is great. Now you've got these Titan black leather seats here with these perforations for your ventilation. They are heated and ventilated, like I said. White accent stitching, white trim around them as well. They're both power adjustable seats. The driver's side also has 2-way position memory. Additionally, as far as cabin design goes, you have kind of this rubbery textured material up top, which is good. It adds some grip. You also have a pocket up here, but everything else is very simple. You kind of have a glossy gray plastic that runs around the infotainment system there. You also have it around the vents over there, that faux wood grain, like I mentioned. Then basically everything else is just a hard touch plastic. So a little bit of a cheaper type of material across the board in the cabin, but that's going to help keep the price point down. This fully loaded Tiguan here is only about $38,000, which is for the technology that you get and the safety systems and the premium materials, I think is a pretty reasonable price. So you do have a plethora of safety systems as well here on the Tiguan. You have their full suite of IQ Drive features, which include travel assist, which is awesome. It's their semi-autonomous driving system. Fantastic. Adaptive cruise control with stop and go, lane assist, lane keeping, emergency assist, which is a semi-autonomous vehicle assistance and emergency braking system, forward assist, which is forward collision warning and autonomous emergency braking with front pedestrian monitoring, active side assist or blind spot monitoring, and rear traffic alert as well. You also have your high beam control, which we talked about outside, the adaptive front lighting system, you have keyless access, the surround view camera system. This thing is fully loaded with safety systems. So really for that price, kind of hard to beat. All right, so hopping into the back seats here, you've got one USB-C port, one 12-volt outlet. You do have rear vents as well. This little console folds down here, gives you access to 2 cup holders, and there is plenty of space back here. As you can tell, I'm 6'1", I got plenty of leg room here, even with this rear seat back pretty far. LED lights back here, handles, speakers back here. You do have a map pocket behind each of the rear seats. The only thing is you have this big kind of block right here where the transmission runs through. And so if you're sitting in the center seat here, you don't have flat ground to put your feet down. So you're gonna have to put your feet on either side. So fitting 3 adults back here is gonna be tough. 3 kids, I think you could definitely do, but 2 adults back here is gonna be most comfortable, I think. And you do have access, again, to that panoramic sunroof. So nice views back here. Plenty of space, plenty of cargo capacity as well. Super comfortable back here for sure. All right, let's take the Tiguan here for a little test drive. Again, this is powered by the 2.0 liter turbocharged 4-cylinder engine, 184 horsepower, 221 pound-feet of torque, 28 highway, 21 city. Go ahead and get an acceleration test here. Yeah, it's not bad. There's definitely a very noticeable delay from when I put the pedal to the floor to when it actually accelerated, but it's quick once it gets going. It just takes a second. You also have like your, navigation here on screen and your digital display cluster, which is fully customizable, which is great. But as far as like visibility, usability of the infotainment system, all that stuff is top notch, as you'd expect from Volkswagen. The system's far away from the steering wheel, so you don't get any weird, awkward interactions there. Everything's very clear here. Even the rear vision camera, while it's not the most high-res camera I've ever seen, it's not bad, and that surround view system works fine. So the objective with Travel Assist is to be like a semi-autonomous driving system, so it'll keep you in the center of the lane, keep you your preset distance away that you can obviously adjust here, and just help make it a more relaxed driving experience. It's not fully autonomous. It's not going to take away the need for driver intervention, but it'll do its best to make it a more kind of calm and easygoing driving experience. So let's go ahead and test it out. Obviously, this is going to work best with nice painted lines. So if you're on like back roads or something, it may not work that well. But let's go ahead and set it. The only thing it doesn't do, none of these travel assist systems really do, is like light detection. So like it doesn't know when there's a red light in front of you or a green light in front of you. So it's just gonna send you through an intersection if there's no cars in front of you. So keep that in mind. So yeah, well, it keeps me in the lines here. You can see it kind of pull me back over. It does a good job of very effectively centering, I think, which not all these systems do. You can see it's not really like drifting too much. It kind of just keeps me in the center, which is all you really can ask for. Also, as far as braking goes, like we've noticed in some of these other videos, the braking is very responsive on these Tiguans. And the acceleration, again, with that little delay, really not that bad though. Handling is good, steering is very responsive, as you can see by the camera. I mean, it's instantaneous. The second you touch that steering wheel, it moves. So very responsive steering. Love using that digital dash. It's very clean, clear, easy to use. Overall, it's not a bad driving experience at all. I wouldn't say it's much different than previous generation Tiguans, but there's nothing wrong with that. So thanks so much for watching, guys. Drop a like in the video if you loved it. Tell me in the comments down below, what do you think about the updated 2022 Volkswagen Tiguan? Let's have a conversation down in the comments. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button to be among the first to see every single new video the second I hit publish. We'll see you in the next one.